This is Dr. Glenn Shepard, and I am doing a second video on creating a new educational system. You might want to watch the first one first, but if not, jump on in with this one. And you can back up. I've created several videos, probably 30 videos or so now, on how we can change the educational system. Because it's way overdue. So I am calling for a change in educational system, and I have a plan on how to do it. Okay, it's by design. I've written some books. One's called Transformation of Human Consciousness by Design, and that's the point. Okay, we can design the educational system that we want. And that's my point, this whole thing. We can do anything we want, and we can do it. We can design it. I've come from educational background of over 50 years. I've been in every side, from working with babies and children at every age on up. A middle school teacher for several years. Professor in education, director of different programs, consultant for instructional design, and several years teaching at the graduate level. I'm presently at the University of Phoenix in the doctoral studies program. And I have seen over these years teachers, educators, parents, people in general trying to say, okay, what can we do to make our schools better, make them work? You know, they're not working. And I have several videos about the history of education and how they're failing us. Grades are not improving. Children are left behind constantly. But then we have educators and teachers that come up and, through our discussions in our courses and graduate level courses and the papers that are being written, the studies that have been done are pointing toward we need a change, that this is not working. That's a subject matter approach, a competitive approach to education is not working. We're treating children like they're adults. See, that's the problem. Children are not adults. Children have different needs than adults, and they're learning to be adults, but they don't learn the same, and they don't need the subject matter. They don't need to master the content, and then right now they have other needs. They will master plenty of content. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. But it can be done in a learner-centered approach, okay, in a constructive way in which they make decisions. And this can be done. And this is what this movement is all about. Freedom, Love, Joy movement is about changing schools in order to change the world. You change what people grow up in, and then you can change how they become. And that's kind of the point here. So the vision is that we create an educational system in which we look at the evolution of the human consciousness, us. What is our evolution? Where are we going? Do we even think about it? Of course we do. We have tons of research and things about, and I won't go through all that, but the thing is our human consciousness is evolving. And what are we evolving from to? Okay, we're evolving from a very egocentric, with needs and gratifications, biological gratifications, and a whole bunch of other things that we need, okay? And we're very ego-centered. We've always been very ego-centered, okay? And we need to move, for our evolutionary purposes, into a more other-centered thinking, to where we care about other people, you see. And that's where you change. You let go some of that ego and whatnot, and you begin to think of others, and so you evolve. And if you begin to think about more and more people, like maybe the whole world, the universe, we're all together, and we all deserve freedom, and we all deserve love. Okay? And we also deserve to be happy. That's joy. And so we realize that our evolution depends on, like, how our environment, And so the vision is that we create the environment, the learning, the community, the school, in which a child can grow and become a thoughtful, caring, loving human being who has left behind some of the ego as much as possible, whatever that is, and to become a more caring, thoughtful human being toward what we might call a God-centered, to actually develop that love for more and more people. And you think, well, what's that got to do with anything? Well, that is the purpose, and that's where we're evolving. That's where our children are evolving. That's where we're evolving. You see, that's who we are. And our children are us. Okay? If we don't change the environment that we've been growing up with, my age, in a horrible learning environment, and if we change that, then we change the vision for the future of the world. So that's the point. Okay, so what would this look like? So I've made other videos here. Creating a constructivist educational community is based on a article that I wrote on creating a constructivist educational community using the probe and Montessori methods. Okay, it's a peer-authored, peer-reviewed article, and it's available online and in my book. And then I also have creating the idea school and others about what we should be doing and what this vision is. Okay, what would be the components of the new system? Okay, well, you just think of the how do we create a system of equity, where all children have chances to succeed and will succeed, not just chances, but they will succeed, and be able to move at their own pace. So it's individualized, personalized, individualized, instructional. So they move at their own pace, and it's a mastery level. And so it's student-centered, very cooperative learning approach. They learn to work with each other. They work in groups, solving problems, doing projects, various things that they work in cooperative groups. And that's part of the big part of this whole new system is cooperation instead of competition. Okay, our old system is just nothing but competition. It's large groups, subject oriented, and it's just wrong. It's bad, and we can change it. That's my point, and we can change it. And there's schools that have done that and made big changes like this, and it can be done. And that's the point of this video, is get people to realize that we can do it. And so what would it look like? Well, it also would be grades. I have a couple of videos. One's elimination of grades and another one's elimination of standardized tests. And then there's some others that discusses the need to just get rid of that, because that's competition. A child is learning and developing, growing, all these things, various levels, and they don't need competition. They don't need to be compared to anybody else. They don't need to have a goal set for them that's the same goal for everybody else, and then they're going to feel bad or something stupid that they haven't met that goal in a certain amount of time, and they get left behind. So we have grades in which, fifth grade classroom will have third to seventh grade performance level students in every classroom. That's what it is. That's that big variation, but we're all teaching them all the same level. It's not working. And so we don't need grades or grade levels, because I've worked in schools where they don't have that. Okay, there's Quaker Friends schools I worked in, and they didn't have that. There's Waldorf schools. There's other schools that just you don't have to have, and so they're actually hurt children. They're learning because of the competition. So we need to get rid of it. We need to let students set the goals. This is what a constructivist type approach is. That they set the goals with parents, and they do self-assessments or peer assessments, and teacher assessments is all together, but then they have self-reflection as well. This is all part of it. And then they have real-world problem solving. It's very authentic learning. So they learn about the whole world, and they learn to ask questions. They learn to say why, and they learn to find out answers to those questions. So it's a very holistic approach, okay, and it's a lot of support and growth. It's a whole different system that provides the whole opportunity for a child to feel safe, to be able to learn and grow as much as they possibly can, and learn as much as they can. And then when you get older, you begin to specialize and take maybe specialized courses and a whole bunch of other stuff. But as a child, first at least 8 or so years or more, a lot of children need a different kind of approach completely, okay? And this is what I'm trying to look at. So how do you get started? Well, you need people who can use the instructional design process. Okay, that's what I do. I've been an instructional designer. I teach courses in instructional design and the whole works. And I know that you can use this whole process to do what I'm just talking about. I have courses in which I ask students to do this sort of thing. How do you change a school? How do you make changes? How do you form groups of teachers and parents and all the stakeholders involved, and get them all with a communication system in which they're all involved, and you all set goals and use timelines of doing things. It can be done, and that's my point. And I have another few videos designing the ideal school, and then one designing a new society. It's about using the design process. And I have some other actual videos about the design process and changing the world, okay? So that's where you get started. And you need to train teachers and staff. I mean, people need to know what this change is going to look like, what's the vision, and we design it, okay? Okay, so the important thing is that the teachers become the designers, okay? We don't want somebody to come in and tell the teachers, okay, we're going to do this, and we want you now to individualize, and we want you to use mastery learning or whatever, No, the teachers need to be the ones who are the instructional designers, okay? And they need training in that. That's one of the very first things they need to be, we need to do, is train teachers to be instructional designers so they become the experts in creating the changes to the school, okay? That's so important. We do not want outside people, so-called experts, even people like myself, who comes in They might come in and begin training teachers to be instructional designers, but then they turn the teachers loose to do this because they can do it. I've worked with teachers for 50 years. I know teachers can do this, okay? And they can learn the instructional design process. They can learn how to make these changes to a student-centered approach, to providing students with more opportunities. Every little change they can make, it helps. Just beginning to start moving to a student-centered approach, beginning to give more and more options to students. Okay, you don't have to do it all at once, but it can be done. So what has to you have to do, I always talk about in courses of alignment, aligning the curriculum instruction with evolution. Actually, our evolution is to grow from the ego-minded to a higher level, other-centered and God-centered consciousness. Okay, and if we don't evolve, then we're going to remain where we are, I guess, fighting and whatever we're doing. So the education is part of the evolutionary process. We evolve, we change. Education is change. We change ourselves. We get better. We evolve. Okay, and they have to. When you decide what the curriculum is, and you decide what the instructional approach is, then they must align with that. Okay, that evolutionary process. The education is the evolutionary process. Okay, so we must meet the needs of the human ego to evolve. Okay, and so you can see my some of the videos. I have the importance of evolution of human consciousness. I've got constructivism and the evolution of consciousness. I have a video about freedom and evolution, and love and evolution, and another one, joy and evolution, how they're connected to our evolutionary process. Okay, so we'll be doing more of these about changing education, and I hope you will join me on the YouTube channel at Freedom, Love, and Joy. And I also have a website, freedomloveandjoy.com, in which you can get, like my article free, and a lot of things that I've done there and whatnot. Look, that books I have on Amazon.com. Okay, so if you'll join me to change the world, we can do this. We can change the education system. And I hope you will join me. All right, thank you.